Good afternoon. This is Brent Trenga. I'm the Director of Education here at GreenWizard. I want to thank everyone for joining the call this afternoon. We do have a number of people that are still joining, but because this is a very short session, we've only got about 25 to 30 minutes here. I do want to get started pretty promptly. So I am going to record this session. Everybody as they come in should be put on mute. If you have any questions during the session, feel free to put those in the question bar. I will try to get to those at the end, depending on how much time we have allotted. If not, I will surely follow up, or a member of our team will follow up with you to answer those questions. But I do appreciate the time, and hopefully everybody can see my screen here. And I will be able to share the recording. We'll probably post this out on the education page, a recorded session of this, today's call. So I posted one just a few weeks back on library tools, so they do change month to month. But the focus of today's call is really going to be around project collaboration tools. So what I want to do is go through the application, starting with the creation of a project, walk you through some key pieces about that so everyone's very clear on what happens at that point. Talk about the next step in that collaboration is really getting in the team members, inviting in those that are going to participate on the project. That's very easy to do. And you can put in documents and store information at the project level in GreenWizard, and then I'll spend the rest of the time really talking about using the custom tracker and some of the tracking tools that we have inside of GreenWizard to best utilize your specific role in the project and really your stage of the project. The tools are very flexible in terms of what stage you're currently in, and as it moves through that process, how others can begin to utilize the work that's already been done. That being said, this is very simple. I want to go through just a couple slides real quick on what GreenWizard is so that you're familiar with it. As I mentioned, the training will be about creating projects, providing access to the team, and then evaluating and tracking projects through stages. And then we'll go through a quick wrap-up with Q&A. So for those of you that are not 100% familiar with it or maybe just need a little bit of a refresh, the core function of GreenWizard, we are a building product management solution. By that, we've created a very unique tool in the market, which is a database of product information driven directly by the vendor. The owner of the information, the manufacturers, are the one that set the account up. They manage the information. We standardize the data points for that information to be collected in our database, supporting documents and certifications. And then the design and construction community can then leverage that information in a standard format in a single source from really thousands of manufacturers in one location and really put that in the context of a specific project, or really, utilizing even a higher level of utilizing it at the firm level and collecting and sharing information. The backbone of this is really product information and collaboration. Those are the two parts that we really like to work with. So as a single source, that is really a lot of different aspects of what what information we're talking about. Performance, health, disclosure, transparency information, and it is very much used on different roles. An interior designer might use this slightly different than a project architect, surely different than a specifier, and surely different than on the construction end, the project manager, project engineer. But all of them have a role in the project. All of them have a role in GreenWizard. So the collaboration piece, again, touches on a couple aspects. It really is a firm-wide tool. Projects, specifically project teams, can collaborate. And then there is an element of collaboration between the PMs, the building product manufacturers, and the design and construction professionals. That's a real high-level piece, but it's very, very important to keep in mind in context of how we go about using GreenWizard. So I'll go through some of those tools and how they all interlay over top of each other. So mouse on there. I'm going to jump right into the application. I want to start walking you through some of these key pieces. So I'm going to jump out of PowerPoint here. I'm going to log into GreenWizard. So I'm in the application here. I go into a demo account. Okay, I've logged myself out there. So name and password. I'm going to come into a demo account, and I'm going to log on to this homepage piece. So for those of you that have, and again, there are two pieces of GreenWizard. There is a public version of GreenWizard, which is free to search product information. All the manufacturers have their data out there publicly available with a public account. You can search. The features I'm going to be showing here today are all in the context of a subscription account, and that starts off a user single project at $120 a year and then goes all the way up to enterprise licenses, which is unlimited. So I want to show you in context of behind the subscription services here. So very easy. Going to the projects themselves, we can go in and I'm getting a little bit of back there. Hold on a second. I think I've got open mic somewhere. It's causing some strange. Not sure where that's coming from. Might have their phone or their computer mic open, which is causing some feedback. That. Let's see. I'm trying to get the audio portion cleaned up here. No. Can't sure why. Well, I don't know why that's doing that. Anybody with their on the line that's got the mic open, if you can close that off, that'd be great. Yeah, I don't know why that's coming up. I'm not sure where that was coming from. Anyway, all right. Well, we'll proceed. I'm not sure who's got that open, but we're going to go here and we can go into create a project. I'm going to go into the project piece and create a new project, basically. So I can go into this section and new project up at the top. And the key part here is we can start with a blank, we can copy existings, or we can start from a Lead Online project. There's 3 easy ways to bounce right into that. So I start with a blank project, very simple information at the top, just collecting some basic information. What I want to talk about real quick is the sharing of information between building product manufacturers and design teams. This is built to help collaborate and build a business case for transparency. Many of you are coming into GreenWizard looking for very, very specific pieces of information, looking for transparency data, other pieces of information, and we want to help the manufacturers get that information to you, but we also want to connect at the project level when appropriate. So you'll see here, primary contact, that's the person at your office that's probably dealing with the building product manufacturers with questions or scheduling calls, things like that. Make sure that person is identified correctly. You also have the ability to very much vocally transmit the information of what it is you're looking for in this piece, types of information you're looking for, types of timeline that you're looking for information, and of course, a lot of customers that have confidential projects that cannot share any information. It's important to check that box if you are owner or client obligated to not share or it's private or confidential. So 3 key pieces of going through this. Instruction details, and then if you are going for a certification, you can select that at the bottom here and show you at the tracking tools where this starts to come up. This is important. It will automatically default some things in the actual project. So let me show you what that means. Not go through that. I don't need to go through and show you there. Wish we could get the person that's set up. Not sure why. There's definitely feedback coming in. I'm going to go to a particular project. I'm going to start off with one that I've already been using here. And go to this D4 project. I've got some views already set up. So at this point, we can create the project and we can go in and invite in team members. So invite a team in. There are people that are already set up, but very, very simple. When you start the project, you're going to be the only person because you just created it, and by default, you're the admin. So go over here and hit invite team members. You simply add their name. So if I type in Brent, it's going to show me every person with a first or last name with Brent that's already in the system. This helps prevent duplicate accounts creating conflicts with emails and things like that. And you can literally go in here and, invite them. If they're already in the list, invite them in, send them a message, and identify their role in the project. Very, very simple. If they're not on there, you send invitations, and we can go and hit first name, last name, email address, same thing, and we can invite that person in. It's unlimited. If you have a subscription to GreenWizard, you have unlimited access to invite in anyone else to that project that wants to participate and work on that project. From here, you can also go and set up a set of permissions. When you do invite this person an invitation, you're going to set a list of permissions here that's specific to the project. So these functional areas allow that person to change or view or edit or delete information based on the way you've set it up. You can always go back and change this information. So if it's a colleague, I can set to highest. If it's a building owner, somebody I just want to have view-only access, I can do that. Or go in and set specific information up per the role, individual drop-down. So I'm going to cancel out that. Now, let's get right into the meat of this, which is actually going in and managing the information at the project level. So in terms of collaboration, it's really about a couple different things. The project information at the product level. So as you're evaluating materials, on previous sessions, we've talked about how to search our database or use the library tools to get product information into the project. So under products, if I go to product list, we go in here and hit product list, it's going to be a whole list of all the information. I think I've got 200 or so materials in this project already. And again, I think we're all familiar at this point of searching and things like that, adding them to projects. I'm not sure where that mic is coming from. You'll see a list of 207 products. We can go in here and look at this material, but what I want to talk about is the actual tools. We can start to filter and show specific examples of what to look for in information. So I've got the first example already set up. These are the custom trackers that we just launched. So I go up here to this GC example product tracker. So this is a custom tracker that I've started to manipulate and add specific data fields for the role of a general contractor as examples. They take that 207 products in the project, and now I create a custom view that's relative to my construction role. So you'll look at the top, and it says configuration. The way we get to add this is these are new features. You'll see a drop-down list of all this additional data. General information, reviews, administrative information. See the ones that are checked over here on the right, and then documents and certifications. So, and you'll see I've saved it as general contractor example. Now, what it's done is it's taken tracker and shown me that 207 products, but it now just shows me those particular data fields. So you'll see on the right, if I can, I'm going to move a couple of these over. Show this, put this up. Assign user, purchased, specified, submittal, and document type. Now, if I'm the general contractor, I go here and say, great, here are particular users that are set up in here. So I'm going to sort this by user. So I can see Tommy and Terry, demo person, myself. I'm going to go to myself in there, and I can sort this. I've selected one of the fields as purchased. That information's tracked in the system. So these products have been marked as purchased. A list of products that have been marked as specified. So I very much start to utilize this information. I can look at submittals. You can mark products as, and if you roll over these, you can see it's been still approved or rejected. So here's a list of all the submittal information. These are submitted, these are rejected, these are approved. I also got another column pulled from this custom piece that says document type construction submittal. So construction submittals are assigned to these particular materials. So this becomes a really easy way. So let's just give an example here. I'm going to look at flooring and sort it down to 29 products. If I type that in the list, it's going to pull product name or manufacturer out by flooring. And I can say very quickly, okay, here's all the flooring products, who's assigned to, if they've been specified, submitted, and if we have the appropriate information now showing up in the system that these are okay. You go see the cost. These 3 products have been purchased. So exactly the state of all this information per view and my role on the project. Now, that may be, we've kind of jumped to the end in terms of a general contractor, but a lot of feedback saying this is great, but there's some additional features I need. All these are customizable. Anything that you want to remove or add into the custom tracker, it's there for you to go and do that. Let me show you a different view. I'm going to go here to Tools, and I set up a second view, which is, I've called this one, I called this Chemicals of Concern, or let's see what this loads as. Completely different view. Same project, same materials as Chemical Tracking Product Tracker. So 207 products, same first 4 columns, and you'll see this gray line delineates where I've got custom fields. Now you'll see different information. This is, again, assigned user. I set that as a default, so I know what user specifically applied, specified. I can start to look at, let's look at the TVOC range for some of these products. I can keep the product name list over here, but I can look at the TVOC range that came out of our database that was supplied by the manufacturer. Products have no added or NAF compliant. So all yeses, or I can reverse sort that to no's or non-disclosed. These are compliant. This one's set up as red list status, so I can see what products may or may not be compliant with red list chemical ingredients. If I scroll down, you'll see products contain 1 or more chemicals, formaldehyde added to this one, things like that. Make sure just got it opted not to disclose or compliant. So I can do actual VOC, so I can have VOC and TVOC in the same view and understand what the product's doing. My team has identified how these products are being used. So this is product usage, a sealant, a primer, coatings. So again, this has nothing to do with USGBC or LEED or anything else like that. This is just relevant information on how your project is using products, the level of information that we have on those products. I've got fields here for CH, so California Department of Public Health version 1.1. So all these are checked off. All these products are compliant. Now the goal of this, let me put this in better context. Let's use that same example for flooring. So in flooring, it's going to filter just those same 20 products. Actually, this came back with 30 in this list, and then make better decisions. If you're the specifier, the interior designer, somebody making decisions early on to this project, you can start to compare and vet products in a very, very specific context to your needs. You look at J&J and Armstrong and Forbo and Flexco and Dynaflex. Now, okay, great. Let's look at what these products have or may not have in them, make some better decisions. Maybe we want to pull some of these products out of our spec. Maybe we want to make sure that this is the basis of design and include this one to make sure it gets purchased. These are all decisions. The concept here and the real driving force with GreenWizard is we want to give you valuable information on the products. It's supplied directly by manufacturers, and then let you guys make knowledgeable decisions about the product selections, the building, and the compliance that you may need to follow. So giving all this information in a very easy, standardized format makes the decision-making process much, much easier. It also makes the specification process much more clear. We're looking at the same slew of information, and it's a matter of what is or is not included and what can or cannot be written into the spec so there's compliance. If you need to know that there's 5 products, a TVOC range within 0.5 milligrams, or that a particular product needs to be South Coast Air Quality Rule 1113, that's a lot easier to go in here and look at that list, or CDPH, things like that. You can specifically see what can or cannot be written. This is going to save a lot of time on the team, and what we see is there's better collaboration, again, with the members of the project team, the project architect, project manager, specifier, interior designer, sustainability leaders in the office can all share this information. The views that I've set up are custom to each user. So I'm logged in as myself. Now, someone on my team that I invited in can go here, this view, I'm going to take all this information out, set up a totally different arbitrary view. So I'm going to change these columns. I'm looking at ADA compliance. I'm going to look at more some code issues maybe. U value. I'm going to look at numbers. Let's look at some other stuff here. We look at responsibility, meaning sustainability, pre and post consumer content. We're going to look at specify, we'll leave that in there. Product usage will take off, and I'm going to make sure that I'm looking at specific. You see a list of all these certifications that all came out of our database. These are all columns you can sort by and add in. We're not going to look at specifications. Look at document types. Let's make sure that we have a literature that I want to look through, so I'll add that. I'm going to look at see substitution requests, warranty information. I'm just going to pick report. I'm literally kind of picking arbitrary pieces there. You also have the ability to make custom documents, and if you do make those custom documents in the system, you can go and add those. They'll show up here under custom settings for this project, and you can add them in. What's nice is you can rearrange the view. So if I pull these in a particular order, pull STM up to the top here, recycle content, we'll just kind of leave it like this, and then I'm going to change the name of this tracker to say SD done. And save that as a new view. So I'm a new user. I'm going to take a totally different view. I have totally different data fields that are relevant to my role. I'm going to set up, and you see, again, we're just basically creating another lens or another filter over the product information in the project. And this is all in real time. So as the team goes in here and works on any of this, each time you pull this project up, you get the most real data, the real-time information as it's relevant to the project. So this becomes very, very useful in terms of, I would particularly like to use the search filter up at the top to set up a SKU view, or you can sort by particular CSI divisions. You go in here and, set stuff up by manufacturer, or look at, I can sort this by cost. Here's the biggest impact items by cost. Let's put information's there, and again, I kind of arbitrarily put some information, but all the data fields show up that's relevant to me. Now, what's also kind of nice about this, and this is going to be a feature that's coming very shortly, is being able to export these custom views. With many tools in our system, you can export these directly into Excel. What I mean by that is literally if I go in here to this, so you'll see a list now of the custom tracking tools that I've already set up. The tracking product tool is a canned view, if you will. It's something that we've already set up that you use, or you can go and build your own. But what I mean by the export function is, again, it's going to take in, this has a couple tabs in it, life cycle impact, health impact, sustainability, things like that. I actually export this to an Excel or a CSV file. So it's very nice to be able to take it out of GreenWizard, archive it with the project, or if someone may not be using GreenWizard, you want to share it with a client or a consultant or someone else, you can literally export this data out. Sheet right here, pull that, and we've exported this directly to Excel. Now, important piece to clarify is the export function is a one-way export. We can't have you can be modifying the Excel document and then sending it back into GreenWizard. It's a one-way export only at this point. It's not to be worked outside of it. The information would be it would be very hard to match up. So I go to this, and you'll see here. This strategy tracker, just out of GreenWizard, all that same information, life impact data, health impact data, sustainability data is all populating in these data fields. So we have the intention of being able to have the same features and functions in the custom tracker. It's a little bit more work because there's a lot more SKUs, and we have to build the actual spreadsheet as opposed to a specific locked set of views that we have here. But nonetheless, extremely helpful in terms of saving this down. We have numerous times in other sessions about the other, as I mentioned, transparency tracker is what we have here, and also have tools that are geared specific for certifications. We have full support integration for LEED version 3 or 2009, and then of course we have the support of LEED version 4. So it's very nice, and you'll see, again, instead of you don't have to build a view, we've taken the time and mapped all of the specific data fields relevant to the rating system that you've selected. At the beginning, you recall that drop down where the rating systems, when you set the project up, this one selected as V4, new construction. So go to tools and select MR product tracker, you're seeing the MR tools that are specific to LEED version 4. And it's telling me, you know, green or red or this yellow color if there's missing information. So hand and set those views up so they're all ready to go. Again, if you export this data, this is really nice. You can see here, you know, get material ingredients, for example, cost, structure enclosure, type of reporting. All these fields, again, are be filtered and sorted. So I could set this. It's going to total my number of products and points potentially. And the facility here. If I export, and the LEED stuff is a little bit different. When you export these, it's going to ask you two things. You're going to export the tracking spreadsheet, which specifically dropped into the GBCI template, which you then upload directly into LEED Online, so there's no rekeying of information. It's one time and ready to go. We also bundle all of the documents that USGBC requires. You've got two options there: exporting document links, which is a multi-page PDF with all the product links set up, or we can export the entire bundle, which is a full zip file. If, you know, let's just say there's 100 products, you've got documents, there's 300 PDFs come down in a zip file that you can then upload to LEED Online in that format. So those are specific on requirements on the back end. That function is available. A lot of team members that are doing Living Building Challenge projects or Green Globes projects or other things like that, the custom trackers are now very much geared to allow your team to be flexible with whatever goal you're seeking, whatever your role, and whatever your stage of the project may be. So hope that is a valuable overview. There's quite a bit of additional features and functionality, but I wanted to paint a somewhat of a clear picture on different roles, different features, different tools, and how they can all be working on. Really important here is the takeaway is understanding that from the very start of the project, as each person touches the project in GreenWizard, more and more information is being accumulated and shared and collaborated on. So we've seen tremendous success with architects starting with in GreenWizard at the early stages, making decisions, making product research, then allowing the interiors team or the specification team to access that information and handing over that information over to the general contractor. They are basically given a silver platter of information. They don't have to hunt for documents or specific data points. Everything's already tracked in the system, and the majority of that work is already done, saving countless hours at the back end and countless communication back and forth with submittals, and you're missing this, or we need additional documents for something. So big picture here, a lot of time is saved from the very conception to the very end, regardless if it's seeking a certification, but it's almost compounded if those projects are seeking Living Building Challenge or LEED or other criteria like that. So hopefully that is helpful. I do see a number of questions that came in. Let's see if I can, WebEx is not being cooperative, so I do apologize for that. Gotcha. These sound like more questions on connecting to the audio, getting in late. Okay. So there are a couple questions in there, but we are right up against the 2:30 question, or the 2:30 barrier. So I will follow up with anybody else directly for something we didn't cover, and I will share the link to the recording session on our education page. Thank you so much for attending. Hope that this was helpful, and we will follow up and look forward to hearing from you shortly. Have a good afternoon.